So we shared with you an article, a thorough article last week on the Dr. Jewel Balancing Show, introducing you to the concept, the fact of human metamorphosis. And for those of you who may have had some courses in zoology or biology or etymology, etc., know that we have mammals as well as insects that literally go through a metamorphic process where at one point in their lifespan they appear to be one entity, and then they go through a total transformation to become a total different entity and never revert again to their previous forms of existence. And so this should not be a strange phenomenon for humans in that we go through the same process. Many of you have had the fabulous opportunity to have had parents that perhaps kept bronze or silver or even gold impressions of your baby shoes or even baby clothing, etc. And when you look at that, you recognize, boy, was my foot that little? My little sweater, that was that small? And obviously, as I stated, you will never return to that state again. So we have these reminders in place to let us know that we also go through metamorphic states. However, I've never been clear as to why the word metamorphosis was never associated with human growth and development, but it is a fact we do metamorph. Now, why is this being brought to your attention? It's being brought to your attention because we are now going through another phase of our metamorphosis. And at this particular point in our evolution as living organisms, a species known as the human being, spelled H-U-E-M-A-N, we still do not know what our final form, shape, and function will be. And this is very important to grasp. We are quite aware of the fact that with this transformation that's happening energetically, the planet frequency is changing at all levels, the elements are changing, our solar system is changing, as well as our sector of the galaxy. We are not enlightened enough at all to understand and to be consciously prepared for the fact that we are also changing. I was just sharing with my staff that I read a cute little article before I came on the air about a little pheomelanated individual, little 7-year-old who has cat's-like eyes like a cat. Now, the only thing is that he doesn't have a vertical iris. As you know, that's the aperture that opens and closes to accommodate the amount of light that the retina is exposed to. His iris is still round. However, he has other very unique capabilities that we see in other animals, such as retinal fluorescence, okay? And in that he is pheomelanated, and for those of you who've been studying with me about the biological phenomena of light known as pigments or melanin, we know that the melanin biopolymer, when it has high amounts of the amino acid cysteine in its composition, causes the melanin biopolymer to reflect primarily a yellowish brown to a yellow olive tinge hue, literally. And so people that have high amounts of pheomelanin will have this golden yellow, caramel, or kind of, it's interesting, green caramel tint, which we call caramel skin color. And so we see this very commonly in what we have previously defined as Mediterranean individuals as well as Asiatic individuals, that the pheomelanin is a predominant characteristic based on the high concentration of cysteine. So this gentleman, little boy, is a 7-year-old pheomelanated individual who, again, is Asiatic. And it was interesting watching his teachers and friends and parents talk about him because he has very, very, very ice blue eyes, okay, as opposed to deep blue. He has ice blue eyes, and they have a blue background with kind of a crystalline tint. And for him to have pheomelanated skin, very, very yellow complected skin, you know, that's very unique. You don't see the hazel-colored irises in the Asiatic countries normally in the human specimens. And not only does he have these very ice blue eyes, but also the fluorescence. At nighttime, his eyes do shine at night, just like the dogs and cats that you would see in other lower mammals. But it also allows him to be able to see at night. Very interesting. So he can go into the room and do his homework, and, you know, he can read. He can do anything in the dark, and it's not a problem. Now, he doesn't tolerate sunlight very well, and that is a characteristic of the melanin recessive iris, as you know, because an iris takes on the hue of blue when there is very little melanin in the rods and cones. So therefore, there's really nothing absorbing the light. So what is present is being reflected, and it gives this white light kind of bluish tinge. As a matter of fact, the blue that you see is because of the deoxygenated blood that is reflected off of the veins at the back of the eye. So it gives this blue hue. But he has this fluorescent capability in his eye, which means that he's able to capture light and store it, so that that almost crystalline type of texture actually reflects light on the rods and cones, and then with the neurologic connection, obviously to the pineal gland, but also to the occiput area of the brain, our visual cortex, that he's able to literally see images quite well at night, and he functions fine. Seems to be a sweet little darling, but this is one of the examples of the new capabilities that we as human beings have the potential to exhibit. And so therefore, we do not have any idea of who we eventually will become, but we do know that we have the potential to be anything that literally we have classified as a lower organism, and to exhibit their capabilities. Why? Remember the teachings is that we have physically 7 major components or circuits of the brain. And each one of those circuits literally is a miniature but enlarged representation of the brains of all the major lower organisms. So we have a crustacean brain, we have a reptilian brain, we have an insectoid brain, we have the mammalian brain. It goes on and on until finally we have, that's the reason why they call this new area, the front of the brain, the neo, which means new, okay, the new cortex, the one, okay, and that's ours, which is allowing us to perceive and to interact with matter in a completely unique and different way, which is why we can build pyramids, and we can build what at one time was known as the Sears Tower, 150-story buildings, etc., that no, what we call lower organism has had the capacity to do. However, we've forgotten ourselves. Isn't that amazing? because we have lower organisms that can fly, they molt their skins, they can regenerate limbs and appendages, etc. These were all and are, they are capabilities that we presently possess. But because we are not able to move around our own brain in awareness and be able to activate and allow those neurons to be stimulated so that they can make the communicative chemistry known as neuropeptides that will be released into the bloodstream, released through the network of nerves so that the cells can be activated to access this information stored in the library of themselves. Every cell has its own library. Every cell has all of the information about all the other areas of the body, including itself and its specific function if it's associated with a community of cells that have organized to execute a particular collective of functions, such as the liver or the kidney or the spleen or the intestines. This is a community, and all of these cells have agreed that they will elicit certain functions, all of which is in the nucleus of the cell, which is their own personal library. We have all of these capabilities. So that is an important contemplation, that you can totally molt your skin, and we do it a way, but most people don't see it as such, and have totally new skin underneath. Well, we can do that. We can have new appendages, new organs, etc. But first of all, we have to begin to expand our consciousness and to completely develop all of the neurons in the brain, create the circuitry, which I like to call the highways. The highways and the, quote, motorways in Europe that you literally can build so that your consciousness can literally move down these highways and motorways of nerves to the particular segments of the brain that you want to activate so that those traits can now be elicited through your body. That is the goal. Go, go, go.
You're listening to the Jewel Network, justifiably enchanted with enlightened living, on the web at www.thejewelnetwork.net.